Hi, this is Tim Bilecki, Managing Partner of Bilecki. And one of the topics I want to talk with you about today is money and retirement. So a question you'd be surprised that I get oftentimes, because I like to talk about money, I like to teach financial responsibility, I like to educate people about how to save money, how to invest money, and how to become wealthy. That's something I'd like to do when I'm not practicing law, is which retirement plan should I be using? The first one you have is the Legacy High 3, where you know the typical system, the legacy system, you do your 20 years in the military and you receive a check or a pension for the rest of your life. And for each year you do after that, you get a higher percentage. But now the government has enacted basically a second type of retirement called the blended option. And the blended option is essentially like a 401k you'd have in the private sector, where a portion of it is like the typical military retirement that you're used to, the pension plan. The other type is money that you save and is yours to keep, where the military gives you a portion of that and you take ownership of that money. So people ask, which one should you go with? Well, if you're at year 16 or year 17 or year 18, then you probably want to stay with the typical pension plan because you're that close. Now, again, I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not giving actual financial advice on this, but just kind of common sense stuff and maybe a different way of looking at things. But if you've got 14 years or 12 years or 10 years, or for God's sakes, if you're just starting out, I always tell people go with the blended system because you take ownership of the money. You've got control of the money. You have control over how it's going to grow. You've got control over what's going to happen to it in the future. And there's something called compound interest. And compound interest is it's a brilliant thing, which says month after month, year after year, if you just keep putting money in and have it well invested, it will grow and grow and grow, and you too can become an everyday millionaire. But the key to the blended portion is you have control over it. It means if you walk away at year 4, if you walk away at year 6 or year 12 or year 15, you keep the money, as opposed to having to do 20 years and have it all or nothing. The other thing is just the legacy you're going to leave to even your family. With the standard retirement, if you die, there's right of survivor. There may be right of survivability if you elect that option. But if your spouse dies, the money's gone. No more paychecks come in. With the blended option, it's like a 401k. It's your money, and should you die, should your wife die, that money stays. It can be a legacy that you can leave to generation after generation if there's enough in there. So I'm always one that wants control over things. I want control over my own money, and I don't want to give the military the control to make me do 20 years where it's all or nothing. Now, how is that relevant to what I see every day at my office? So often I get calls from an individual, a staff NCO, an officer who's got 15, 16, 17 years in, or even 19 years in, who's looking at retiring, then something comes up in their career. Maybe it was a curfew violation, something as simple as that, or maybe now someone's falsely accused them of something they didn't do, and what happens is their entire retirement is on the line. And the military doesn't care if you've got 16 and a half years in to walk away, and now you're walking away from a 1.2, a 1.5, a $2 million annuity equivalent because of something that happened or maybe didn't happen in terms of the actual facts of the event, but you're getting charged with it. So you can be at 16 years and lose everything. And I would never want to put myself in a situation where I'm totally under the control of the military, who is going to make the decision whether I get to retire or not. So with the blended system, you can take that with you. Now, again, going back to what I see every day, your typical scenario, let's say you have a 16-year chief, a Navy chief, who there is an incident that happens, has an issue with the command, or there's an NJP. What comes next? He gets a DFC, which is a detachment for cause, which is very similar to a general officer memorandum of reprimand or a GOMAR in the Army. From there, that's going to trigger an ADSEP board, which oftentimes, where the service member is going to have to go before a panel of 3 members to determine whether they can show cause to stay in the military. I've got multiple clients who are going through this right now, and that can be at 16 or at 17 years. So what happens is this board is not just a board to determine if you're going to be able to stay in the military after 16 or 17 years. What's at stake is that traditional retirement, where if you look at the present value of that annuity, that could be 1.2, 1.5, or $2 million that's at stake. So getting kicked out at 16 years, and don't tell me that can't happen or they deserve it, because I've talked to a lot of damn good Marines and damn good soldiers and damn good sailors and airmen who have had something come up in their career, even something minor, which triggers a show cause board or triggers an administrative separation board, where now they're not just fighting for their career, they're fighting for a $1.5, a $2 million retirement, where if you were in that situation with a blended retirement program, you'd have that money, you'd have that nest egg, that even if the military decided to kick you out or you weren't able to stay, that money is portable, it's yours, and you can roll that over and keep it. I would much rather be in that situation where it's my money, I'm in control of it, as opposed to putting all of the eggs in the government's basket. The other thing I see, which drives me kind of crazy, is just lack of financial responsibility. I'm gonna get off on a little bit of a rant here, but I have people that call me that are 15, 16, 17 years in, are in this situation where they have traditional retirement. They're looking at losing $1.5 or $2 million of the value of their retirement. They hear the legal fees, and they could be $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, whatever they are, and they have absolutely no way to fund that. So now we are in a awful situation, or they're in a terrible situation, because what's on the line is a multi-million-dollar retirement. They've done no savings of their own, have no ability to hire legal counsel, so they're going to get a first two or a brand new lawyer who's going to do their best, but again, they're going to be brand new, and that brand new lawyer is going to be entrusted with representing someone who could be facing a $1.5 or $2 million hit. It's just a really bad situation. So my advice, again, I'm not a financial advisor, but if you have the option, unless you're very close to retirement, take the blended retirement. Put as much money as you can in there. Invest, invest, invest. It's like water and erosion. You need a little bit of money and a lot of time, and that compound interest takes place. And next thing you know, you're going to be set up in a position where you have a nest egg, where you have money to fall back on, where you have your emergency fund, and if something happens, you have the ability to utilize that, and you're not 100% in control of the government. Take control. You have the power to take that decision. Make the decision. Take ownership of your actions. Take ownership of your money. Don't be a victim, be a victor.